tears, a week of anxiety in this country. But as always, every Sunday we meet here to discuss our issues as Kenyans. Kuna wale ambao hasira imeisha, wamekubali kuishi hivyo. But some of us, we will continue. We will continue talking. We will continue raising issues that affect us. And as we prepare to, dissolve the parliament, the solution we said is to dissolve this parliament. So today we have a host of issues to discuss about, and we are focusing on our people at the rural areas, our farmers. These are the people who will be voting in the next election. If we don't convince them, how will you expect them to be part of this ship? We have to bring everybody on board. So before we begin, I want to invite Kizude to tell us something, and then I will welcome my friend from Brazil. I'm going to welcome him so that he can tell us about all the global issues that are there everywhere. And as we continue, Kizude, welcome.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Kizude. I'm a spoken word artist. And in the spirit of rejecting, I reject staying silent. And in that cause, due to the abductions that we have witnessed in the country in the recent past, I was inspired to write the piece that I'm about to perform. So let's go. Oh yeah. Wacha story mingi. Najua wewe ni nani. So hacha story mingi. Najua ni nani amekutuma, najua ni nini amekutuma, najua kwa nini amekutuma, najua kwa nini ni wewe ametuma, najua. Hata najua ni lini alikutuma. So we fanya kenye imekuleta. Na uache story mingi. But this is what I want you to tell them. Waambie, lazima wafanye kazi vile inafaa na wawache story mingi. Lazima tusimame, tuseme vile nchi inakaa. Hatuna story nyingi. Lazima tuache ufisadi, ubinafsi, ukabila. Lazima tuache vita sasa mbona tunajimaliza. Mwananchi hajai kuwa na shida, but if they handle things slightly, lazima tutawaonesha kiza. So tell them I'm not the problem. I'm not the problem, so dealing with me itafanya yule mama kwa Kenyatta ende home bila kulipa akishatibiwa. Amule mzee kuturukana apate faida akishalima. Dealing with me is not a guarantee that ule graduate wa Strathmore akiweka biashara itajipa. Dealing with me is just a guarantee that our future is dead, hatutawahi jitegemea. Sijui kama unanishika. But I'm proud. I'm proud kwa sababu ile ugonjwa tuko nayo katiba yetu ni katiba. Tutawacha kuko watumwa tukiwacha kuacha mila. Tell me why tumelegalize pizza tukaillegalize miraa. Tumekubali wazungu wameshukutupima mesa wata waluo ni sisi tulipigana vita hao wametugoza mang'ombe ndo maana ukicheki tuona madeni zinatua ndama. So welcome to Kenya. Sijui kama bado inakubalika kusema hakuna matata. Usanii ni kioo cha jamii. So tell me, are you proud of the reflection you see on this mirror? Ambie, just make sure you tell them that I'm just a messenger. Na sitawacha kudeliver. Maybe, just maybe, niwache story mingi. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Still trying to fix all these issues. Dr. Godek, are you there? Dr. Simon Godek?
He's not among the speakers.
Oh, maybe he has dropped. I was just chatting him some few minutes ago. He was telling me he's excited by that poem by Kizude. Let me see if I can still get him back. Otherwise, Bravin, how are you? Karibu sana.
Thank you. Asante sana.
Yeah, hizi spaces bana zinakuanga ngumu kuzihost, but we have to continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
so
have no option.
yes, what do you want to tell us today? We saw the president came from wherever he came from. I don't know. What was it? Was it Netherlands or whatever country? And then he comes and the first thing is he gives a church 10 million. Yet we have children down there who are banned in a school.
Yeah, he actually came from Germany and made things worse than before he even went there. So I think most Kenyans are going to face a lot of hostility, especially from Europe, that is. I think our president has a thing for churches because that is where he still has a lot of control at the moment, because churches are where people who are hopeless go to. So he definitely needs to go there. And since as a person, the president likes to, I can say he's a narcissist in nature, basically. So that is a place where he goes for hunting. He needs to collect the hopeless people by making false promises in the churches, and definitely by giving them a few coins to just keep them singing the message that he likes best. But what I can say is we really need to change how this country is governed and how it operates, because our president as a person, it's like he's not even listening to what people are trying to tell him. And I think him going to the church and not even trying to address some of the challenges that we are facing as a country. We have people who are being eaten by hyenas, and there's still, there is even one that was spotted yesterday crossing in an estate. And these are some of the things that he should, as a government, try to address, and is not addressing them. And going to the church, I think the church is a good hunting ground where he can manipulate the population and keep them in control and check. He needs to give them a few coins. So that is some of the things that I wanted to at least address, and I think I can leave it at that.
All right. Can you hear me, Bravin?
Oh, yes, I can.
All right. Dr. Godek, welcome to Kenya Space. You said you're a Kenyan, you've lived in Kenya. Hello, sir. Are you there? Bravin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but he is not still among the listeners. I think probably he can. Yes, he's back. He's a speaker.
Okay. So, all right.
Well, I can't hear anyone. So, let me reconnect.
We can hear you.
I can hear him.
All right. So, Kotsonko, can you tell us what's going on? There are some 3 Kenyans who are abducted and nobody knows where they are. What is going on in this country?
Okay. So, hi, good evening, guys, and I hope you can hear me. So, currently we're having this issue of the Kitengela 3, where Bob, Jamil, and Ishmael, they are missing currently. So these 3 guys, they hosted a space on August 18th on this platform. Yeah. And then after they hosted that space, Jamil and Aslam, I think, the 2, they were abducted on Monday by police officers. And then on the same day, Njagi, who is Bob, was also abducted by police officers along Mombasa Road. So these things really happened on the same day, meaning isn't even a coincidence. The abductions happened in different places on the same day. And the people who were abducted, the people who held a space on this platform, and they were talking about the state of the nation. So I think these abductions, they came after they wrote a letter to the OCS for Kitengela police station. And they informed the OCS that they had a plan to hold peaceful demonstrations in Kitengela. So the abduction actually, it was to the demonstration on that day, it was to accompany with signature collections for the people's referendum. And then Bob and the team actually requested the OCS to provide the security. But then, do you know what the OCS provided with them? they were provided with abductions. So the three guys, they were served with abduction by the police, whom we believe they really know what was happening, because it came after they held a space and they wrote a letter to the OCS requesting that they should be provided with security, because they were now planning to conduct a demonstration.
Okay,
On
hold
a
it there.
few days.
Okay, hold it there. I can see Dr. Simon is back. Simon, how are you?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, how is Brazil, sir?
Oh, nice. Yeah, Brazil is lovely.
All
We are currently in the dry season, so the sun is shining all day long.
Great. You said you lived in Kenya, Ngong to be specific. What were you doing in Kenya, sir?
Kiserian, I think it's an independent city, but it's next to Ngong town. So yeah, I had a farm there. So I had a project from the university. I was a associate professor or a teaching member in a university in the Netherlands, and we had a project in Kiserian in order to build integrated farming systems and to transfer knowledge to Kenya. So I liked it so much, I actually put myself a cottage up there, and I've been living in Kenya for a while.
Did they give you a Maasai name?
No. But I tried to go jumping with the Maasai. Impossible. They jumped like 10 times higher than me. No, I didn't get a Maasai name. They all called me Simon. I think it was maybe the most easiest thing to do.
All right. In 2019, that's the first time I followed you, and it was the time of COVID, and actually it was 2020. It was time for COVID, and I mean we were against these vaccines, and we were telling people this is control, and unfortunately your Twitter account was taken away. You disappeared for a while, and then you came back. Maybe could you tell us what happened, and what is your comment on that?
Yeah, so I was obviously spreading medical misinformation regarding the old Twitter owner. So I was posting publications of mine about vitamin D. I was addressing Bill Gates. Bill Gates also he's also fucking up Africa. So I mean, like, he's fucking up the whole world. So I was calling out why he was already investing into BioNTech, into these mRNA vaccines in September 2019, like half a year prior to when it all started. It was all very odd. And based on that, they just deleted my account for medical misinformation. So by just asking questions or posting peer-reviewed papers. So yeah, and when Elon Musk bought Twitter, I got back right away, literally, which was 1.5 years ago. And yeah, here I am. I'm back. It's good.
All right. Why do you think Bill Gates hates rural farmers? Because I read that you left Netherlands and you went to live in rural Brazil. So maybe why do you think Bill Gates hates rural farmers that much?
As soon as you give people the power, they are more independent. So rural farmers without any link to Monsanto and all the pesticides required, all these MGO seeds. So yeah, they're not independent. So you can see how many people, for example, in India or also in Brazil have to or commit suicide just because they cannot buy their Monsanto stuff anymore. And Bill Gates is involved in all this non-organic movement. So yeah, I think he's just trying to get over control. He's buying farmland a lot in the US, also in other continents, and he's just trying to seize power. So yeah, and you can also see what he's doing in Africa with all these vaccine programs, Africa, India, so which are, in my opinion, unnecessary. So you have to question yourself, why is he doing this?
And do you think African governments understand this? Because most of Western countries are beginning to see the lies and the fraud behind what he's doing. Do you think African governments understand the depth of what he's doing?
Well, I don't want to offend anyone, but I think especially in Africa, the governments and politicians mainly understand money. So bribing is very common there. Bribing is common all over the world, but I think especially especially in Africa. I mean, those who don't bow, remember the last president of Tanzania who said like, oh, we didn't need all these vaccine, we didn't need all this. We look, there's papaya, we just tested positive. I mean, he just died afterwards. He got killed, I think, even. So I think many politicians are aware of this. So it's the easiest thing is to bow, maybe accept bribes, or just go with the flow. But I think Kenya is a bit different because I think as at least what I've been talking to many Kenyans in the last couple of years. And they say that China has more impact on the country than actually Bill Gates in the US. So that's another thing to consider when making such a statement.
So in your own view, what do you think is the ultimate consequence? What will happen to Africans maybe in 10, 15 years or 20 years if they don't take initiative to run away from this control?
It would just continue. So it would just be like I live in a second world country, so we also exploited. But we can just sum it up. The first world countries are exploiting Africa, and they do it by bribing politicians and then taking the raw materials and taking whatever a country is producing. And I mean, you contacted me because of my tweet about Kenyans, 250,000 Kenyans going to Germany. So they don't only exploit your raw materials, they're also exploiting your skilled people and saying like, hey, let's bring all the skilled people you got to Germany or somewhere else. So. But it should be the other way around. So actually, Kenya should be looking for skilled people they pay in order to improve the infrastructure, the industry, and keep your own raw material or whatever your country is producing in the country to make it better. So right now, I think the majority is going to China, but in the past, the majority of raw materials was going to especially France and also the rest of Europe.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about food that is natural food that we get directly from the soil and the correlation with the explosion of chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and cancer. Do you think this is a deliberate conspiracy to make the world population more sicker so that you can exploit them? Or what is the science behind the explosion of diseases and the food that we eat today?
Yeah, I can just tell you how it was in Kenya. So I've just lived in Kenya and Namibia, so I cannot tell about the rest of Africa. And but what I experienced there actually is that the vegetables you buy in the market, they were most likely organic. At least I did my groceries in Gong. So those were small scale farmers who were selling their produce just right there, and I doubt they were using the Monsanto and other crazy pesticides because these vegetables were not looking perfect, but they tasted great, right? But what I figured is that most people in your country cook with corn oil, so vegetable oil, seed oils, and this is highly inflammatory. So I think most of the modern diseases, we say Western world diseases, but of course it also applies to Kenya, goes back to an excessive vegetable oil and sugar consumption, which I've seen a lot there. So, but in terms of produce, as in meat and normal vegetables, I'm not talking about the wheat, etc. I think the wheat is also full of GMOs, but especially. The meat in Kenya is very high quality because we got it from local Maasai, so it's probably the best meat you can get. And also the local vegetables were great, but cooking stuff with vegetable oil is making a society sick. And also regarding Africa, so the main problem you guys have is that more and more jobs are shifting your presence to be inside an office, etc. And you guys have higher melanin levels. I mean, we cannot deny that. And the higher the melanin levels, the less vitamin D is produced when you're exposed to the sun. So there are very interesting studies that were conducted in East Africa that actually most of you guys should supplement with vitamin D because your vitamin D levels are extremely low, which again leads to cancers and other chronic diseases.
All right. For those who are listening, you've heard Dr. Simon talk about seed oils. So seed oils are these yellow things in the supermarket. The corn oil, the soybean, the Elianto, canola, fresh fry, Rina, Kimbo, Kasuku, Ufuta, Blue Band, all those yellow things that they call vegetable salad. there is no vegetable in them. If you want to know there's no vegetable in them, for example, can you plant an acre of vegetable and then squeeze and see how many liters of oil you'll get from them? So
Nothing.
these are seed oils. These are seed oils that are prepared in the laboratory and in the factories, and chemicals are sprayed on them. They go bleaching, they go cleaning, they go. So these seed oils have been associated with the rising cases of hypertension and diabetes and all those things. I think I have written this a million times on my timeline and asking you to avoid seed oils. This is the point. If a nation is not healthy, then that nation cannot free itself from tyranny. Go to Kenyatta National Hospital today. Go to the cancer department. I was there last week. And do you know that the veranda of that unit has now been changed? It is a waiting bay. Yani watu wanajaa mpaka wanatengenezewa sa veranda walale huko. Because the status of our health as a nation is dwindling every day. And if a nation is not healthy, there is no way we will emancipate ourselves from tyranny. So, Simon, what is your, comment on Africa as a general, the obesity we see around, the diabetes we see around, and the rural farmers, because you've been in our rural Kenya?
Yeah, so what I've seen, I can just tell you, like in Nairobi, in the city center, you see more obese people. But if you go a bit outside, maybe even towards Mount Kenya or to the south, I hardly saw any obese persons. So it's very hard to find them, especially among Maasai. There is no obese person, because what they do, they literally are herding their goats all day long outside while jumping around, which I find super impressive. And so they eat healthy food. They eat their goats. They eat their local roots and vegetables. They do sports, as in jumping and running, and they get exposed to the sun the whole day. So they have vitamin D blood serum levels of around higher than 50, 55 on average, which is extremely healthy. So you don't see any obese people there. But the more you go into the city center and to the economic center of Nairobi, you see all these people who are, who go to the office, who work inside, who never are exposed to the sun, who eat out to get their food, which is most likely fried and vegetable oils. They have desserts. They have all these Western processed poison food. So there you see obese people. So what I'm doing here in Brazil, I'm living in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of the forest, of the rainforest. And I grow my own meat, own eggs, own vegetables, everything. So I don't eat processed food. And I can just tell everybody, don't eat processed food. Fry your stuff. I mean, best would be like barbecuing or smoking. But if you want to fry something, use olive oil or use lard or whatever animal-based stuff is available, which is not based on seeds.
But there's a myth that goes around that if you use animal fat, you'll get heart disease, you'll get whatever, cholesterol and things like those.
They're lying.
Yeah.
It's a huge lie.
Yeah.
Saturated
How
fats are
many
good.
times will we tell them? Because when they go to hospitals, the hospitals tell them, cholesterol, animal fats are bad. You'll get a heart attack, heart disease.
Yeah, that's what they tell, but it's a lie. It's nothing but a lie. So the most important actually building block in the body is actually saturated fats. So I try to eat as many saturated fats as possible, and I'm healthy as a fiddle, So fit as a fiddle, that's how you say it. So I can just tell people, like, saturated fat is good, and whenever you have a big steak with this white fat on, eat the white fat. It's healthy. So don't cut it off. You want to eat fats.
All right. So hold in there, Simon. I'll come back to you for your parting shot. But Court Sonko, you are telling me that 3 of our Kenyans were abducted, and we don't know where they are, and nobody is raising a finger. I hear there was a court case, and the IG never went there, and I don't know if he was sentenced. I've not followed the news. What has happened, Court?
Okay, so Amerix, just to let you know that these guys were abducted, and personally, I believe the people who abducted these guys, they are police officers. The same police officers who abducted us while we were on the streets protesting peacefully, only armed with our flags and and a bottle of water and our Tecno, Infinix, and Samsung mobile phones. So you find out that these guys, as I told you earlier, they were abducted on the same day, but Bob was abducted at a different place along Mombasa Road, and the two were also abducted on the same day. But before they were abducted, a day before, they had held a space on this platform, and they were speaking about the state of the nation. And of course, they resolved to plan a peaceful protest. And then during that exercise where they could have held that peaceful protest, they were to collect the signatures. And so they had to write a letter to the OCS of Kitengela Police Station. They asked the OCS for Kitengela Police Station through that letter to provide them with security during the protest, the peaceful protest within Kitengela. But what these guys were served with isn't security. They were abducted on the same day at different places. So what does that mean? That one is not a coincidence. It is something we know. And the current acting police IG, Masengeli, he actually comes from Trans Nzoia in Saboti constituency. I can even take you guys to his home and question him. This guy was called in court. He was served with a court order. He was summoned to court to go and explain how these things happened, where these people are, because what these guys demanded was security from the police officers to have peaceful demonstrations. Unfortunately, they were abducted in Subarus. So the guy.
Do you think they're alive? Do you think they're alive as we speak?
Personally, I feel they're alive. According to me, I feel those guys are alive and they're being held somewhere, of which the police IG should now go to the court and explain to the court how these things happened. But then before going to the court, he should also go to committee and serve his 6 months jail term, because he has already been jailed by the court.
Oh, he has been jailed already?
I mean the court orders. That guy has been sentenced to 6 months in committee. So he shouldn't be even.
When was that?
Yes?
When was the sentencing done?
I think last week, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So personally, I feel like these police officers, these rogue police officers, we even have those whom we identified, they killed our fellows on the streets live under our watch. They should be not walking out there freely. They should be in court. They should have been taken to court. IPOA should have done these things as fast as possible. Those guys to go to committee and serve the sentence. So I feel like
I am also seeing your colleague here. I am Chege has also been pushing for the release of these comrades who are arrested and abducted. Actually, it's not an arrest. It is an abduction from what you're saying. Chege, you've been pushing for their release. Do you think these 3 comrades are alive as we speak today?
Hello, everyone. Mkwaje. Can you hear me, Amerix?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello? Now, I have been drawing some triangles to try and see how these people came to be abducted. Now, you can remember that there was an express that was here on 18th August that was hosted by Bob Mjangi and the colleagues. So the express, they had an agreement that there was supposed to be a peaceful protest in Kitengela the following day, which was 19th of August, 2024. And in that protest, they were also supposed to collect signatures to recall some members of parliament. Now, going to 19th August of 2024, the 3 were abducted. Bob Njagi was abducted along Mombasa Road. Jamel and Aslam were abducted in Kitengela. I think they were looking for one person, and because these were brothers and they were together, they took them all. The same 19th of August, Jimmy Wanjigi was arrested. Keep the records very well. Jimmy Wanjigi was arrested 15th of August, but not in the morning, in the evening. Now, that is why I've been saying that these people are still alive. And also remember that Buka Omole is a close friend to the three. Buka Omole, some days ago, was also arrested at JKIA on his way to Beijing. And our uproar, ndio ilifanya Buka Omole akawachiliwa.
What was
So
he going
I
to
have
do in
been
Beijing,
reasoning
sir?
that this, I don't know what he was going to do. He did not explain. He was just arrested at JKIA. He was detained at Central Police Station, yes, and he was released. That is Buka Omole Ngesta. So I have been thinking that these three people are still alive and they are being interrogated. Why was Jimmy Wanjigi arrested in the evening when these people had been arrested, had been kidnapped, had been abducted in the morning? And why was Buka Omole again just arrested for nothing, just traveling outside to China for nothing? His passport was snatched. So I think there's still that fallacy that this revolution is sponsored. And that is the reason why these three people are being held. And that is why I've been keeping on to push for the rest of these people. They are not dead. That I'm for sure 100% sure they're not dead. If they were dead, then this arrest of Buka Omole and the rest azingefanyika, because they did not abduct Buka Omole the day they abducted these people and their colleagues. And in fact, that 19th Buka Omole was in a protest and he was not arrested. It means that these people are somewhere being held somewhere by the rogue, this fool from Western Masengeli. They are being interrogated. And I know they're very, very much alive. So we just have to put some pressure. We just have to be so strong. Like even now, they have arrested Collins Odhiambo. I've been pushing for each hashtag Free Collins. He was arrested today in the morning near All Saints Cathedral Church.
Today in the morning? Why was he arrested? What is the reason?
No, okay. I've seen the charges that he has been arrested for causing disturbance, and it is quoted in that charge that Collins was carrying a flag and a placard today in the morning while saying reject bad governance. I don't know how that is causing this disturbance. I don't know how it
I saw Advocate Njiru here. I don't know where he is. Njiru, where are you, Njiru? I really want you to see if you can come in and rescue these young people who are being arrested for nothing. I mean, carrying a placard and a flag, what's wrong with that? Njiru, where are you? I saw Njiru here in the speakers panel, but I can't see him again. Is he there, Bravin, Cyprian? Njiru, Advocate.
Can I go on?
And he's dropped. I added him as a speaker, but he's dropped.
Okay. Go on, and continue and finish.
Okay. If you remember, Collins Odhiambo is the man who interrupted a holy mass at Holy Family Basilica during the Occupy Teachers Finance Bill initiative. Yeah. So Collins is the man who interrupted that service, saying that reject finance bill carrying a national flag. So these people have been trailing him. As the information that I've been getting is that they have been on his back. So they got him today in the morning when he was again at the entrance of All Saints Cathedral, reminding the believers to reject bad governance. So he was arrested in the morning. He is at Capitol Hill Police Station. I've been told that he still doesn't know if tomorrow he will be presented to court or not, because the charges, as I have posted on my X, they have not been signed, no stamp. Just with the charges, the complainant is the Republic through All Saints Cathedral. That one means that even All Saints Cathedral does not know that this person has been arrested on their behalf. They don't know, because there's no way Republic through All Saints Cathedral. It means they have been looking for a way to discipline Collins Odhiambo. Okay. And the arrest of Collins Odhiambo means that all of us who were vocal in this issue of reject finance bill, we are not safe.
Okay. I've seen you've shared the charge sheet somewhere on the space. Just hold it there. I don't know why our government is treating us like we don't belong to this country. Honestly, I saw some video of a lady who was in India. Maybe let me try to play it. Hope it will play this time. There's this lady who was held in India.
Hello everyone, hope you are good. My name is Paris Nyambura, born and raised in Kasarani, based now in India. Was human trafficked last year on April, promised to be given a job, and the person who brought me here is the one who paid for my transportation and everything. Said when I reach here, I'm going to pay her back. Coming to reach here, I found myself, she's introducing me to prostitution, which I was not willingly doing it. She told me I'm supposed to pay a debt of 3 lakh, which is 300,000 Indian rupees. I've paid 2 lakh, that is 200,000 and 230,000. My debt balance is 70,000, which I'm not able to pay again because I'm tired of doing all this prostitution. I need help to get my passport back because she is holding it, and she has threatened my life also. And there are many girls. I'm pleading to the government so that the government of Kenya and India will help us not to be in a situation like this again, because there is many girls who are here doing prostitution, which they don't know. They were brought from their countries, from Kenya and East Africa, to come and do this, which is we are not willing. It's a hidden business done here to make other people rich. So I'm pleading to Kenya to help us.
Bana, msichana ni mrembo bana. Yaani imagine tu bana, Wahindi wanakula udemu. Msichana ni mrembo bana. Inafaa tu abaki Kenya, aolewe, azae wa Kenya. Msichana mrembo bana. Imagine msichana, a parent has struggled, amepeleka mtoto shule. Mtoto amemaliza shule, sasa unatafuta kazi, unaambiwa enda Germany. Uju unaenda kufanya nini Germany? Unafika huko Germany unaambiwa wewe kazi yako ni kufanya prostitution. Na mimi sioni wa Kenya wakicomplain. Na Kenya mtasaidiwa aje? Juzi I saw the president saying that 250k job. Alafu mna celebrate. I've been looking for Beth Kasinga. She's in Germany but sijampata. I mean, wewe umeenda shule Kenya. Umesomeshwa Kenya. You've gone to the university or college. You've come out with a paper and a skill. Your dream is to build your country, to raise a family, to live a good life in your own country. Alafu unaambiwa na serikali yako utapelekwa Germany, utapelekwa India, utapelekwa Saudi Arabia. Ni mara ngapi tumeona our Kenyan suffering? Why can't we create our own jobs in our own country? Wakati president ama politician ana campaign, kitu anasemanga ni nitawapatia kazi. Akishaingia kwa kiti, anaanza kuwapeleka Germany na sijui India na sijui wapi. How is that making sense? Na unajua ukienda kwa hizo country ni vile nyinyi hamjui. There is a video I'll share I think on Monday. Kuna mtu ako huko, should be Britain or whatever country. Anatuambia that don't be misled that people who are here wanaishi maisha poa. The people who are living good life or good lives huko abroad ni matajiri. Lakini wewe Mkenya ukienda huko kwanza unapewa nyumba nika cubicle namna ni kama bed sitter na ni kwa apartment. Unaishi watu kama 300 kwa apartment moja. Life huko ni mbaya. Nyinyi mnadanganywa na media, mnadanganywa na politicians, na hao watoto wao wanasoma Kenya. Wakifika of age wanapelekwa ng'ambo, wanasoma good schools, then they come back to Kenya to work in Kenya. Na wewe mtoto wa maskini, mtoto wa farmer, mama wako amestruggle, ameuza ndizi, ameuza beans, ameuza mahindi, ameuza miogo, ameuza sugarcane. Ana struggle usome. At least utoke huko umsaidie. Alafu wewe serikali yako inakupeleka India kama udem kukua kuro. Just imagine that. Udem mwenye anatumiwa prostitution, ile trauma akonayo kwa maisha yake, mimi sidhani kama atai, ibomoa. Because unajua watu fikiria prostitution is easy kwa mwanamke. Ukiona mwanamke anafanya prostitution, si ati pia anataka. because hiyo kitu inakukula maisha yako yote. It eats your soul. Na mimi huandika hii kitu hapa kila siku. So dem kama huyo akirudi Kenya apate mwanaume, sasa itakuwaje? Because watu wamelala naye karibu 100. Hawezi bond na mwanaume. Hawezi. Wameharibia huyu dem life kabisa. Huyu dem ni akirudi Kenya hawezi olewa, hawezi hawatoi. Hiyo ndio serikali inaharibu maisha ya Wakenya. Young people. Yet our young people ndio wako na energy ya kubuild this country. Unapata mizee 8 years, 7 years ndio wamekwama huko. They don't want to live. Mtu wako 75 years anapewa kazi ya PS, sijui chairman wa nini. Yet we are very young Kenyans wenye wako na energy ya kufanya kazi, very productive. Badala ya kuwapatia kazi mnawapatia wazee. Watoto mnawaambia waende ng'ambo wafanye kazi ng'ambo. How is that even sure? Hao politicians wenyewe wakiongezwa na president, watoto wao wako hapa Kenya, wanafanya biashara hapa Kenya. Wamepewa makazi kubwa kubwa hapa Kenya. Wewe mtoto wa maskini, mtoto wa farmer, mzazi wako amestruggle, amepewa hiyo kitu inakasirisha sana. Kathomi, kwa nini farmers wanateswa na serikali yao? Why is the government harassing and frustrating farmers? Farmers who are paying tax. Why? We know very well that agriculture is the backbone of our economy. Why is the government destroying agriculture? Why is the government persecuting and frustrating our farmers? What is the reason? Kathomi.
Hello, guys. Thanks, Amerix, for the invitation to this space. I think our problems started when GMO were allowed in Kenya. That's where our problem started. This president on a roadshow, just like vile anafanyanga declarations tuko kwa barabara, he declared that GMOs were going to be legal in Kenya. That's where the rain started beating us. That was a very strategic move to make GMOs legal in our country, because that was the door that was going to be opened to take over agriculture in Kenya. If you look at what has been happening in this country, after GMOs were allowed in this country, agriculture bills zimeanza kumwagika parliament. Zinarushwa huko, mkipiga kelele sana, wanaishelf kidogo. But that doesn't mean they are not going to keep pushing these agendas. We have the nuts, the oil and nuts bill in parliament. Hata kama haijakuwa discussed, it's a bill that has been presented. We also have the famous one, the dengue bill. Ile ilikuwa kuna huyu senator wa Nikibwezi ama ni wa Makueni. We have the agriculture bill that is in parliament. Juzi tu huyu CS huyu PS wa agriculture. This Kamba guy, I'm forgetting his name. He was actually promoting that bill on his Twitter, the livestock professionals bill. And what all the agriculture bills are aiming to do is to criminalize agriculture. Kuna mzungu hapa ameongea, I can't remember his other name, Dr. So-and-so. He's talked about how food production in Kenya is being taken over. So they present these bills, and of course they're going to do PR, and they're saying they want to protect the farmers, they want to regulate the industry. But if you go through those bills very well, utaona, these bills are creating a board whereby the players in those fields will have to register in a particular board. And if you're not in that board, you're not allowed to carry out that particular activity, either kuweka wanyama, livestock, doing agriculture. And once you're in that board, there's a registration fee that you pay. And if you do not pay that registration fee, then you qualify for a jail term or a fine if you're found to carry out agricultural activities. I hope people can follow and see exactly what is happening in this country. There is a very slow and a very subtle, systematic agenda of taking over agriculture in Kenya. When Kibaki was the president, there was a push to legalize GMOs. But what did Kibaki do? He initiated people's participation, and Kenyans spoke loudly, and they said they do not want GMOs in Kenya. Those documents sit in parliament even today, because when they collect, I don't know what you call it, when they collect people's opinions, those documents are kept. And for 20 years, Kibaki's administration and the Uhuru administration, we've been safe. But huyu president aliingia tu hivi hata kumaliza 6 months. Actually, I don't think 3 months were gone. Roadside declaration, GMOs allowed. And let me tell you, that was a floodgate. And no one has gone to court. No one has questioned the legalization of GMOs in Kenya. Out of legalization of GMOs in Kenya, that is the same avenue they are going to use to effect the Seeds and Varieties Act. There's a bill that is now an act of parliament, which is called the Seeds and Varieties Act, whereby we are not supposed to share seeds, whereby like you're only supposed to buy registered seeds. Unaona hizo seeds ziko kwa mikebe zile zimepakiwa. Those are the only seeds that you're supposed to buy. And so now we are not supposed, like the way you would grow terere, you know, like you let it overgrow, then unachukua zile mbegu zake, unaanika, unajaza kwa gunia. That's what farmers do. I'm a farmer. So zile mbegu zake ukishaanika, unauza, unapeleka soko, unauza. Farmer to farmer, you can sell to your neighbor terere seeds. So now they are criminalizing the sharing of seeds from farmer to farmer. Hata ile kukatia mtu stem. Like you're not allowed kukatia hata mtu stem. And you know how people got to know that Kenya is actually a signatory and is effecting the Seeds and Varieties Act. There's a mzungu farmer in Nakuru. Akaona farmers wake wale Africans wako neighborhood kwa hizo farms. Kuna farmer mtu anaweka ng'ombe pale Nakuru, amepanda, kuna nyasi alipea, just a traditional nyasi ni kama napier grass. Akipea ng'ombe hiyo nyasi, ng'ombe inatoa maziwa kabisa. So this mzungu who is a neighboring farmer, when he realized that, akaenda akaomba ile nyasi like mbegu yake. Akapea ng'ombe zake, akaona, hey, the production is really high. That mzungu went nyuma, akaenda akaregister ile nyasi. And you know what? He started harassing the Nakuru farmers in that area. Akaanza kuambia, no, you're not supposed to feed your cows with this grass. It belongs to me, it belongs to me. That's the way the farmers came to learn that there is actually a Seeds and Varieties Act in Kenya. They didn't even know. Amechukua nyasi, akaenda akaregister ati hiyo mbegu ni yake. So this thing, I know people do not understand how these systems are brought into the country. They are very slow, they are very subtle, they are very soft, but the intention is to take over agriculture. And even relating to what the other speaker talked about, all the diseases that we are talking about now, the explosion of cancers, autism in children, hii ingine sijui wanaita maugonjwa zingine mental health wanaita sijui ADHD sijui nini. All these problems are related to the foods that we are eating nowadays. Foods that are processed foods, foods that are yani si zile chakula organic that we are supposed to eat. Okay? So what am I saying? Let's not keep quiet. Let's not. These people in parliament, you know what these people in parliament are doing? Wanataka saa zile mmetulia, saa zile mmesawi story. Mmeshatulia tu hivi. Bill inaamshwa tena. First reading, second reading, 1 week, a month. Hiyo kitu imewekwa law. Kwa sababu wanangojanga saa zile tumetulia tu. That's when they want to make these things effective. And I'm telling you, the takeover of the food security in this country, the takeover of food sovereignty in this country is worse than the Finance Bill 2024. Let me tell you guys, you'd rather uko na chakula unaweza kula mzuri na una pesa. But just imagine they take over your money, they take over your food, they register our seeds. So now Bill Gates, and I don't know if I have time to explain this, all these things are related to Bill Gates, all of them. Because Bill Gates has shares, he has ownership in all these seed companies, the Monsantos, all these companies, the Madawa, hizi Madawa za mashamba zote, he has links to all that. So this guy is pushing us to be permanent customers to him, his food, his patents, and also his medicine. He's also in medicine. So if you look clearly, what is happening in this Namali Bill Gates, is it last week? There was the farmers, the agri, there was the conference that was happening in Rwanda. It's a Bill Gates funded farmers, sort of like a convention. And they were analyzing, and someone needs to go and check what was discussed in that convention. They were analyzing how the effects of agricultural changes in the African communities. Na kabla aende Rwanda, amekuwa juzi tu hapa Ethiopia. What is he doing in Ethiopia? He was going to wheat farms. He was going to check out farms, the GMO farms that have been rolled out in Ethiopia. Akuingia Kenya. Then he went direct to Rwanda for a week. And of course, you had a lot of Kenyan representation there. So they want to take over agriculture with a very strategic plan. Is it good for us? No, it's not.
Right.
Do they have our best? Okay.
All there. Bill Gates want to eat everything. There was a mzee, I'm sure you remember that mzee. And I think his sound bite should always be going round your head. I don't know if I can get the mzee. Yes.
Waligula. Waligula. Hey. Haki ya Mungu.
So this mzee, we don't want to be in a situation where in the next 10 years we are saying waligula, walitukula, walitumaliza. This is the time to stand up. And I've seen someone telling me that, Amerix, we need to think about registering a revolution party like EFF of South Africa. Well, I don't know. I'm not a politician, so I cannot say much about that. But I think it's also high time that Kenyans consider just revolting, just being rebellious. Because unajua mna deal na mtu mwenye haelewi. Juzi meona amepewa some award hapa. Kumbe hiyo ni kitu alipewa 2022. Sasa analeta hapa, anasema I have been awarded transparency, whatever. And then the media, the corrupt media takes it. Why doesn't the media speak about these things? Because the media is in bed with this corrupt politician. Willis, thank you very much for joining. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you, Amerix.
How have you been?
I'm good.
Why is the government harassing Jimmy Wanjigi?
You know, for the last 5 days, they've been sending vehicles, these vehicles that have jammers to Mr. Wanjigi's residence in Muthaiga. And they park them at the gate, inconveniencing the neighbors and even the family members. It's part of intimidation and harassment. In fact, interesting to note is that right opposite Jimmy Wanjigi's residence is the residence of the Tanzanian High Commissioner. So even that residence is affected. Barely 100 meters away.
Which place is this? Is that Muthaiga?
This is Muthaiga Road.
I know there is the U.S. Embassy. I mean, the U.S.
Embassy is around 100 meters away. Yes,
100 meters away.
Yes, but that their jammer, it covers approximately 50 to 60 meters from where the vehicle is stopped. So the U.S. ambassador's residence is not affected, but definitely the Tanzanian ambassador's residence is affected. And all other neighbors within the 50-meter radius are affected by that. And we do believe this is just part of the state trying to intimidate and to harass Jimmy and his family from the civic education that he's been doing. But one thing I must say is that Jimmy is not deterred. He's not scared of those tactics. The people have decided that they don't have any trust in Zakayo and must go. There's nothing he will do. He will abduct Bob. He will abduct the Longton brothers. And it's interesting that Bob Njagi was with me at Kamukunji on the night when the night he was abducted. He had come to show solidarity with Jimmy Wanjigi when he was taken to Kamukunji police station. And he did mention to me that the Longton brothers had just been abducted that day. And he was actually concerned about his own safety. And we actually said we needed to go to the OCS in Kamukunji to report to give him security. But the OCS was out of the station. Bob decided to just go home. Unfortunately, never got home that night. He was arrested, he was abducted before he got home. And to date, we've not been able to trace where they are holding him. But I do believe that what they're trying to do is by abducting Bob and the Longton brothers, there's a feeling that they were central in organizing the resist movement in Kitengela. And the intention is to try to demoralize the young people who are coming out to advocate for good governance in this country. If you take Bob, you take the Longton brothers, the followings that they have been able to amass.
Your network is scratching. I don't know why.
Sorry, how is it now?
It's better.
Yes, the intention, I believe, is just to try to distract the followings that Bob and the Longton brothers had managed to amass in Kitengela and across the country, and in a way to demoralize the young people and the new Kenyans. I call us the new Kenyans, who wants to see positive change in this country, so that we lose hope and we lose focus. I just want to also add, I was talking to a gentleman from Germany today who was telling me that Kenyans are very angry in Germany, and Africans generally are very angry with Ruto, and to an extent with Kenyans. And they're saying that Zakayo went to Germany to advertise to the German people. What number one was not agreed, but number two, he's bringing this issue of immigration into that country, and it's a very emotive issue in Europe at the moment, the issue of immigrants. And what he has done now, he has even put our fellow Kenyans who are already in Germany at risk of being deported, even those who are legal in that country doing formal jobs for which they qualify. Now there's a wave of anti-immigration in Europe that now with this stupid move is exposing our people to deportation. And there's even a feeling that he's actually trying to do what the Brits were trying to do with Rwanda, in a way, to turn Kenya into an asylum country for those who are going to be deported from Germany to come into Kenya. But we must call him out. All these things that he's doing are not for the benefit, it's not in the best interest of the nation. He is doing things that are for his own best interest. Kenyans have been going to Europe over the years and they go on their own. There's been never any government involvement. If you qualify, there's a job, you apply and you do it. But when he's bringing government here, we must ask what's the motive? Why he's trying to bring himself into the center of this development. And it seems that it boils down to undermining the continued presence of those Kenyans in Germany who've gone there through their own means, and those who've managed to be there and are working, expose their papers. Those who are working, you are using as a political tool to whip up the anti-immigration political parties. So our people are now at risk, and we need to call Zakayo to order and expose him for what he's trying to do, not just to Kenyans, but to all our African brothers who have gone to conquer that continent. Because I do believe that those Africans who've gone to the continent, in as much as they've been forced by circumstances to go to Europe because of the failed leadership in the continent, they have a right to be there if they took themselves there voluntarily. Just the same way the Europeans came here and extracted our minerals and raw materials, those Africans in Europe have a right to also extract whatever resources they can find in that continent as part of the reparations that Europe owes Africa for colonialism. Thank you very much.
Right. Let me hold you there. Let me hold you there. I know you'll come back, and there is something that you advocates need to start doing to hold individual police officer accountable. You know, most of these police officers hide behind government. So they do things behind government, knowing that the government is going to protect them. But it is high time we begin holding each person who is breaking the law individually. They can sit in those. I'm shocked to hear that our acting IG has been sentenced to 6 months. I'm really shocked. How does that happen? Surely. I'm shocked. So my advice to him, if he's listening, I don't know if he's listening, is go and serve your 6-month sentence. Go there for 2 weeks, come back, beg leniency from the courts, and then produce these fellows. because that thing will hang on your neck for as long as you are living. And you are my Luya like me. I don't want to hear that my Luya has something hanging on his neck even at his old age. Bwana Masengeli, if it is true that you've been sentenced to 6 months, just go and serve your sentence. The people you are hiding behind will throw you under the bus when time comes. Wataona, hey, siasa imekuwa moto. They will throw you under the bus and they will leave you to carry your own cross. So my prayer to advocates like you, Willie, Njiru, and the rest, I am requesting you. I don't know if I'm audible. I am requesting you.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I'm requesting you. It is high time these officers be held responsible individually. Yani wewe ubebe msalaba yako. Usiseme nilikuwa nafanyia serikali kazi ama nilikuwa nafanyia deputy president ama president nilitumwa. Hakuna. Uko na akili, you are an adult. If something is wrong, say I'm not doing it. Nobody died for resigning or refusing. Say mimi sitaki, I cannot do that because hii kitu msalaba will hang on you, then hang on your children. I have seen here a farmer called Farmer on Fire. And Farmer on Fire, how are you?
Hi, Eric. Hi, I'm well.
How have you been? How is everything? Nice meeting you here.
Yes. Thank you. For the
Why are
mic,
you on fire?
I've been well. I am on fire because I need us to start changing the way we think about ourselves. This inferiority complex cannot continue going on the way we think of ourselves less than. Anyone can just come and disrupt our way of life. We abandon our indigenous ways in a whim. We need to look at these things holistically. You can't just say, I'm a farmer and my work is to plant food. No, understand the whole value chain, understand the politics around it, figure out how to maneuver and advise other farmers as well.
Why is the government harassing you farmers? What is this that they want? And in your capacity, are you talking to other farmers telling them that the government has let them down and it is high time this government goes home?
Yes, that's all I do. Actually, I was supposed to be a host for one of the programs in Rwanda last week. And all the communications were going well. But until because I've been very vocal about the government doing the wrong things and questioning them and asking for petitions and requesting people to wake up and see what is happening and realizing that democracy is not given. We also have to play our part and play it aggressively at this point. So at that point, that's when I found myself not in the list. So definitely I'm living and seeing the results of me speaking out and talking to other farmers and telling them this is not okay. There is no way that someone can tell you that the natural vegetables that grow in your farm are weeds and you should go back to your pocket, go get seeds called skumawiki, called spinach, called cabbages, yet you have all these kienyeji mbogas in your farm and you should cut them out and throw them away. There is no way we are planting maize, we are planting wheat, and then we go process and remove everything, all the good roughage, all the lipids, the fatty oils in those seeds, removing everything. We give that to the animals. Actually, the animals feed better than us. And then we end up eating the starch. There is no way that it's not making sense that someone came and told us, oh, you're doing organic agriculture. Oh, you're doing mixed farming. No, this manure is not supposed to be used in your farm. It has, salmonella and all that. Go back to your pocket, go get my fertilizer from the shops, and that's what you use. Also, go use pesticides. Someone is coming and dictating your life, yet you had a lasting solution. You are sorted in your own way without involving too much capitalism in the mix. But because they want to milk all the money that you have, because they've exhausted in other countries, they're coming and convincing you. And for me as Farmer on Fire is to try and show people does this make sense? Does one add up to one? You can use your manure. You don't need to go back to the pocket and experience fake fertilizer. We are definitely going to have food shortage on cereals. There is no way the government is willing to import Mexican maize for 6,000 shillings, yet the NCPB cannot even buy at that price from the local farmer. The math is not mathing, and we need to start
Just hold on. You
actively.
said something that the government is importing maize from Mexico at how much?
6,000.
And buying from farmers at how much?
At 4,000.
My goodness. What is that?
That's ridiculous.
Is that
And the
happening in
cost of
Kenya?
production, yeah, and the local cost of production because of high taxes, no subsidies, no regard for farmers, fake fertilizer scandals.
And why are you voting for such
high.
a government? What's wrong with you farmers? Why are you voting for such governments? Why are you voting for such politicians?
I would say it's because farmers are very religious people. We believe that we have to work very close with God, and someone has used that to manipulate us.
Samson, are you manipulated? Samson, you're a farmer, right? Are you a sugarcane farmer? Samson?
Hi.
Yes.
No, I'm not a sugarcane farmer. I'm actually doing tea.
Yes, tea. Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Where are you calling me from?
Yeah, I'm calling you from Nyamira County.
What is going on there? Are you people getting value for your produce?
Actually, there's nothing back here. There's totally nothing. Funny enough, the factories which are based here, they are exploiting our farmers, us farmers. Because tell me why.
But you are voting for people like Cheborok who have been accused of sexual predatory behavior. You are voting for them. Are you not the one voting for them?
Funny enough, I'm in the private sector. I'm not in KTDA. But again, if some KTDA farmers who are here can speak for themselves, for a private sector, they are trying to exploit us. Tell me why they are bringing harvesting machines. Then, on the other hand, they are telling us to use hand plucking and give good quality. For these machines, they give bad quality. Then they are paying us 17 per kilo. What will a farmer who has a tea plantation can use that money for? Because if we are being paid 17 per kilo and they are paying the workers 7 bob per kilo, you're getting 10 bob as the owner. It's not making any sense. Coming to the quality of fertilizer they're giving us, there's poor quality of fertilizer. The fertilizer that they're giving us is so different from what they're using themselves. I don't know if Wakili, who is here, can help us understand if the people who are in parliament can bring a bill that will regulate the private sectors from increasing and decreasing the price as they wish for the sake of that, without even consulting the farmers, that because of A, B, and C, we are likely to increase or decrease the price from which we are buying tea from you guys. Another point is the quality of fertilizer, which is so poor that we end up getting a low quantity. For let's say, for example, that we have a 1 acre land of tea is likely to produce 1,000 kg. Then you give us poor quality of fertilizer, which will end up as you giving 500 kg. A lot of farmers don't understand even how they will do a soil pH. Some do, some don't understand. That it makes us to go deep and ask ourselves which is the way forward as a country and as a farmers. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. There's something Coach Songo was saying before I release him, because I'm seeing Governor Natembeya wants to join in. He's having issues to join. But Court Sonko, what is the way forward on the 3 comrades that have been abducted?
So I think the lawyers, Akina Willis, are here. Yeah, you guys really need to follow up on these matters because you will do it legally. Sisi, when we are going to do it, we'll do it in a way that pleases our fellow comrades. Of course, the only thing we can do is to go to the streets and protest. But then we are going to the streets, but we are going to lose our lives. So, Akina Willis and other lawyers in the house, kindly, we really want you guys to follow up on these matters. And whenever you need our help, whenever you want us on the ground physically, always call us. We'll be there. And so, guys, I think we're crying for good governance. We want good governance as we speak now. And the only thing we can do now is to offer civic education. Let us go to the ground. Let us go back in our homes. Uko mashinani. Amerix, go back to Bungoma. Tell those guys whatever they really need to know what is happening here. Any other person, go back to your villages. Let us educate these people. Lakini usiende village uanze kuambia watu story ya Adani, usiende huko village uanze kuambia watu story ya Thika Super Highway. Tell them what is really happening mahali wako, yeah. For instance, like now we having bad environment hapo kwa mashule. We have classes zenye haziko sawa. Tell them that we need good classes. Tell them that he bill yenye inatoka about the seeds, as Gathomi said, it's affecting them directly. Yeah, if you can find time to talk to travelers, as Nani Oeba has been doing, talk to them. If you find time to go to SGR, as I've been doing, go to SGR and educate these people. Tell them we want Ruto to go because of this and this. Tell them we want Ruto to go because his regime has been abducting people. His regime has been watching while our women are being killed and massacred in Kware. Tell them that the children uko kunaitwaje in Mount Kenya, they were burnt in dormitories because probably someone locked them from outside. And so the government, the only thing they did is to take rice and beans to them instead of doing something else like educating them on matters fire outbreak. So let us educate our people. Let us tell them exactly what is happening. Let us form a small committees. We talk about the issues that are really happening. And let us not just talk these matters here on the spaces. Let us go back to the ground, educate our people. So civic education is the way to go. But then apart from that, we have another rage coming on. Yeah, the new university funding bill, the new university funding model. It's so oppressive. I'm a student at the Technical University of Mombasa, and I've been there. I've seen
how much are you paying? How much are you paying, and how much have you been paying?
So currently, as I speak, yeah, when you join during those days, when you join at the Technical University of Mombasa as a government-sponsored student, you could pay 19,250 per semester. But as we speak, the courses have been classified. Unapata in engineering, when you join as a government-sponsored or a self-sponsored, you pay 163,000 per semester for an engineering course, not unless you apply for the funding from the government, but you are not sure about it. So the fees has been hiked. And what we want now, what we are demanding is that the old funding model turudishwe hapo, because any student, no matter where you come from, as long as you qualify for the government sponsorship, when you are at TUM, you are paying 19,000 per semester. When you are at UON, you are paying less than 22,000 per semester. But currently, when you look at the fee structures, you find out that engineering students are paying as much as 180,000 per semester. Hapo inamaanisha kama the government has not awarded you a scholarship, you have to pay that. And recently I went to TUM at my alma mater. The students walikuwa admitted the first years. During those days, the first day, the university could admit more than 4,000 students. But honestly, the first day the university admitted less than 700 students. And I contacted the vice chancellor nikamwambia, mnaona vitu zenye mnaenda kupush huko with the Sugoi guy. Hizi vitu ndo zinafanya the university is registering less students today. And the vice chancellor was like, so what do we do? I told them, let us go to the streets. So on Thursday this week, the student leaders and the students from all the universities have resolved to go to the street and say that the new funding model, the new university funding model, must be rejected in totality, as we did with the new, with the Finance Bill 2024. So I think that's what I had to share.
That is on Thursday? Is that on Thursday?
Yeah, on Thursday, of course, on Thursday this week.
I've been trying to look for the PS of higher education. I called her in the morning, she didn't pick. I also sent her a message and she didn't respond. I wanted her to come and actually address this matter because hii serikali ya Ruto kitu ina boil wamenyamaza, ina boil wamenyamaza, ina boil wamenyamaza. Wakati inalipuka, that's when they come. Yes.
Amerix, you know, those guys that ukikuja, they will not help you. Recently, this guy Itumbi, the big-headed guy, Itumbi called the student leaders hapo State House. Yeah, they talked to those guys. Even the president was there. And then what they wanted is that the student leaders to calm down and ensure that this new funding bill, this new funding model goes through, because this is the second year. After that, they paid them 25,000 each. Alafu the student leaders, when they came, we realized that they have been paid. And so we came here on the spaces. We had to run and call them. We even sent them salamus. The next, after 2 weeks, same Itumbi with the president, they called these guys for a town hall meeting at KICC. Student leaders from all the universities. Walikuwa wanatoka in all those universities, 7 each. So you can do the arithmetic. We have over 60 universities. If you do it by 7, I think you'll get something close to 420 student leaders. Yeah. And immediately they were done with that, they were bribed with 10,000 each kwa a white envelope. Wakuje wanyamazie hii issue. And of course, we knew that. So guys, we are not going to sit back and watch this regime inafanya vitu zenye zinatukandamiza sisi. So we are still going to the street on Thursday as the students to demand that we want the old funding model. This new funding model is too oppressive, punitive, and we are not going to accept that. So thank you so much.
You have to tell your parents that hawa ni watoto wa wakulima. Mzazi hana pesa, unamwambia mtoto wake asome engineering alipe 150,000. At the same time, the government is buying your maize at 4,000. How are you going to pay that fees? Something else you should be telling them is that a student loan is like a chain. Ni kama wewe ni mfungwa. Saizi ukienda US, student loan is the thing that everyone talks about. Because ukikuwa na student loan, utalipa. You will pay. You might even pay double. It is not easy as people think. Ati unapewa student loan, unafurahi, unacheka nimepewa pesa. You will pay, it's not free. You will pay and you will pay through the nose. Utafungwa maisha na hiyo kitu. Unajaribu kwenda kazi, unapungiwa hapa. Unajaribu kwenda ng'ambo, unapungiwa hapa. You know, it is a way of government making money. Actually, unajua serikali haina pesa. Serikali haitengenezi pesa. The government only gets money by oppressing the citizens through taxes, through levies, through such loans, through fines. Even though vile serikali inatafutanga pesa, si yake. The government does not produce anything. The government does not farm anything. Inatoa wapi pesa? Pesa ni yako na mimi. When you sweat, ukienda kwa shamba kulima, you sweat na damu yenye unatoka kukua kwa shamba, ndio serikali inakuja kukusimamia hapo kwa gate kikwambia, where you did not register your cow, can you give us 500 shillings for your cow? Wewe umekamua maziwa, who told you ukamue maziwa bila idhini? Leta hiyo maziwa hapa, ama toa fine ya 1,000. That's where we are going. And you people are not saying this. Hii mnaona tu ni mchezo, tuko hapa space tunaongea mnagombana, sijui nani ameweka space huku, sijui nani ameweka space huku, sijui nini. Vitu zenye hatusaidii sisi kama Wakenya. I'm trying to look for Governor Natembeya. I think he's having issues joining. I don't know what is the problem, but he has promised. I've been chatting with him, and he is working on it to join. I want him to tell us, hiyo serikali yake ya Trans Nzoia, how is it cushioning the farmer? Ndio huyu farmer aweze pata pesa kwa mazao yake, aweze peleka mtoto shule, aweze aenda hospitali akiwa mgonjwa, na aweze ishi maisha ya mkulima. Ukulima it's not a curse. Being a farmer is not a curse, it's a blessing. Umesikia huyo mzungu amesema alitoka Netherlands, aliwachana na uzunguni, akaenda kuishi Brazil in the middle of nowhere. He is raising his own chicken, eating his own eggs, ako na solar, juzi nimeona amenunua Starlink, anaishi maisha yake and he is free and he is happy. So mkulima is the last free person on earth. That's why wanamtaka. Once they get the mkulima, because nyinyi middle class mmeshachukuliwa, mmetengenezwa free affordable housing huko, mtawekwa huko kama kondoo, mfungiwe gate. Ile siku president ameamuka na hasira anasema wale wa affordable housing Buruburu, fungeni hiyo gate wasitoke leo. Kesho aseme wale wa affordable house huko Kitengela, switch off the steamer, let them be in the dark for a while. Next, wale wa affordable housing hapo Embu, kila mtu apewe vaccine moja. Kama hutataka vaccine, hautatoka kwa hiyo gate. And for you to come back to that gate, you must show your vaccine certificate. Wale wa Nyeri affordable housing, mtaambiwa unaenda town only 15 minutes. Because mkijaa town, mnaweka carbon na you fat like those cows of Bill Gates. Mnaharibu carbon, mnaharibu hewa mkijazana city ama town. So ni 15 minutes unakaa alafu unarudi. So they will be timing you. You delay to come back home, you are fined. So you rush to Nyeri town or Eldoret city. Now there is a city. You rush for 15 minutes. You do your shopping quickly. Unarudi nyumbani within the time that you've been given. So some of you mnafikiria ni mchezo. Some of you mnafikiria we are here for joking. We are trying to enlighten you. I've given you a platform of 101.9 million followers so that you get enlightened. Na msimame kama wa Kenya in one voice. One voice. Kathomi, how can we bring these farmers together? And do you think these bills are going to pass?
Thank you, Eric. I think maybe just to sort of paint a picture on the kind of fight that we are fighting, it is a huge fight that needs to be fought by everyone. Are we going to succeed? Yes. A seed was sowed, and I can assure you a seed was sowed in this country. We might not have a time frame on our victory, but I can assure you we will be victorious. I would say the Gen Z energy of June, and I would say May, because it started way earlier, it was a seed that was planted. And that seed, we might not be on the streets like literally, but that energy has been transformed into so many forms. That energy has not been lost. And before maybe I delve into how we win this, I would really want to call upon lawyers. And you see, everyone is being told to do what they can do as an individual. I love what Morara does as an individual. He's taken a path and is running with it. I'm hoping this fight can be on every single front. We have so many young lawyers, even young, old, whatever group, we have a lot of lawyers in this country who can actually come together, who can represent the people in court, so that we can just fight this battle on every front. If it's even a question of raising money, there are so many Kenyans who are looking for opportunities to put money on a right course. If it's a legal direction, a legal course, there are people willing to put money on it. There are people willing to put effort wherever there looks like there's going to be victory or something that looks purposeful and has direction. I'm here wondering why until today, there is no lawsuit suing the president for legalizing GMOs in Kenya without public participation. We are talking about JKIA, we are talking about Adani, because waliruka the public participation step. That is that's one of the things that we are holding onto. And it can drop the whole thing. Why can't we go to court and sue the government on allowing GMOs, yet Kenyans loudly spoke they did not want GMOs? Because the legalization of GMOs is what has opened a floodgate of taking over food security and food sovereignty in this country. We cannot, fine, talking is good. I talk every day. Whenever I have an opportunity, I talk. Because this is civic education. But we need to fight this battle on every front. We need to be in court. We need to stop the parliament from passing any single bill that is touching food security, that is taking away food sovereignty from the Kenyan people. And the only way to put a cap on that direction is making GMOs illegal. Okay. We should not reduce the pressure on one direction. And then there's another thing out here. Guys, let's not cheat ourselves. Okay. The percentage of Kenyans that understand what is going on social media is so small. I can tell you that because I speak to people out here. The bulk of the farmers do not even know what is going on out here. They do not even know how to differentiate organic seeds and GMO seeds. They do not know what is happening behind the seeds, the scenes to take over food security in this country. Fine, social media is setting a narrative, it's setting a face. But can we be able to lift this discussion? Lift it from social media, lift it from platforms, and take it to the people. That's the only way people will understand what is going on. And if you want to see an example of what is happening in Kenya, just check the Netherlands. Check what happened in Netherlands from the beginning of this year. It's exactly what they want to happen in Kenya. The government in Netherlands wanted to take over agricultural land. And that is what the Finance Bill 2024 was doing, taking away our land, making our lands that are freehold, taking them to leasehold, talking about that if you've not been using your land, the government can take back the land. I hope people understand where these clauses were in the Finance Bill. There was also the land acquisition. It was a proposal in the commission that powers of the Land Commission are being taken from the Land Commission of Kenya, who actually are the custodians of the Kenyan land. And that was being transferred to a CS, one particular CS, anaweza and makes a decision that, you know what, Ngong Forest saizi is not public land. Hiyo sasa tumepeana carbon credits. Hivyo forest inaenda hivyo. I haven't followed to know where that goes. I'm trying to relate this story with what has been happening in Netherlands. And the Netherlands farmers, of course, they are a bit mechanized than us. We are more of small-scale farmers. The other farmers are a bit mechanized. They use machines on most of the things, but they're still individual farmers. They're still family farmers. Like you find a generation of farmers from the great-grandparents to children who have been doing farming as an economic activity. What do? They camped in government offices. Walimwaga hay huko, wakamwaga maziwa, wakamwaga cabbage, wakamwaga hizo chakula zote walikuwa wanatoa kwa shamba, wanazipump na machines kwa ofisi za serikali. The pressure was so much until the government had to back down and leave the Netherlands farmers alone. I think people need to go and see what was happening in Europe. Their lands wakaacha kuchukua shamba zao and wakaacha kumonopolize farming in Netherlands, because this is a tradition that they've been doing in this country. That is the direction they want to take with our country. And one thing we must understand, it is how these things are done. They are so subtle They come with such a PR, they come with such an image. Ushaiona ile nyoka inakuuma na inakupuliza? That's our government. Yani, have you seen people who hold a party to kill you and you're invited in that party? That's what the Kenyan government is. Munacheka now, they massage you, but in a few minutes, they will be killing you and celebrating your death. That's the kind of government that we have. Our government is a middleman to the highest bidder. Who are the highest bidder in the food industry? Bill Gates. He's going all over Africa. You need to check the history of Bill Gates in India. Us as African farmers, we don't do monoculture. Monoculture is whereby these people are encouraging one crop. Kama ni kahawa, kahawa. Kama ni ngano, ngano. Kama ni mahindi, mahindi. That's not the kind of agriculture Africans have been doing. We do cross farming and we mix our crops. Nikipanda mahindi, katikati nimeka maragwe. Okay, kama nimepanda kitunguu, ninapanda na skuma. You know, that's the kind of agriculture that we have been doing. And that is what they are telling us not to do. We must be able to link, we must accept to stop being foolish. I'm sorry to use such a strong narrative. Tuache ujinga, tuangalie shida zetu zinatoka wapi. Tuangalie vizuri shida zetu zinatoka wapi. Ruto is just a middleman. This government is a middleman to the highest bidder on food, on health, on security, on energy. They are just middlemen to the highest bidder. And we cannot allow them to take over our food security. See what's happening in Ethiopia right now, where GMO has been allowed, where the government is giving expansive pieces of land to this big globalist, our agriculture, you know, whereby they are doing like a trisex of these seeds. Alafu wanasema this has been so successful. And you know what they say? They say that they are dealing with anger. Wanasema we Africans are dying of anger, and that is how they are coming to sort food crisis. I'm sure you know that narrative, that they are coming, wanakuja kumaliza shida ya njaa. Has the government of Kenya ever been sincere in food security in this country? Check the percentage of arable land in Kenya under irrigation. What part does the government play in food production in Kenya today? They don't give you the rain. They don't give you free fertilizer. They've not regulated the market. Hizi sako na cooperative society za farma za kahawa, za majani, za nini, zimeingiliwa ni za kukula pesa ya mkulima. Okay? So someone needs to tell me, what does the government do to improve food security in this country? Nothing. Akina Kimwarel Dam, tell me which irrigation project in Kenya has been successful? We talk about a successful story to say Gava ilisaidia. I'm sure most of us come from farming families. Sisi wote tumetoka ushago na wazazi wetu wanalima. Tell me what the government has done consistently to give this country food security. Nothing. That's the answer. But now they are using that narrative to auction us to multinationals because of seed, because of GMOs, because they want that chain of food production owned by a multinational. Okay? Because if you look at Kenya, and you are talking about my friend Wangari, Farmer on Fire, has talked about how they import expensive maize that is actually expensive than ile pesa NCPB inapeanga farmers. So see the hypocrisy. See who imports sugar. See the hypocrisy. Watasema, okay. And they will always cripple the agriculture sector because that's where the bribe money is. The importation money, wakileta skari, cut ziko hapo. Wakileta mahindi, watu wanapanganga line huko kwa ofisi ya Ruto, ofisi ya the Billionaires Club, you know, where government contracts are given. That's where people get contracts to bring maize. So there's no money to steal when a farmer is successful, okay. But there's money to steal. Okay.
All right, just hold on. Right. Hold on there. Governor George, how are you? Governor George, how are you, sir? Unmute your mic and then speak. Your mic is just down there on your left down there where mic is off, mic is on. Just click on it once and then speak. All right. The Farmer's Guide. How are you? Dravin, am I audible? Maybe am I there really?
Yeah, Amerix, I can hear you.
Okay. The Farmer's Guide gone. Why?
Thank you, Amerix,
what benefits are you getting as a farmer? Are you able to take your children to school? Are you able to feed yourself? Are you able to clothe and live, a good life as a farmer?
Actually, I've been following you since 2019, as we can attest through some inboxes. And I'm more of an extensionist, trying to guide farmers here and there. And actually, we've been trying to do this through digitizing the extension services. And I'm glad for this space. And there are so many policies that have been affecting us as Kenyans, from seed sovereignty, hakuna kushare mbegu, kulikuwa na story ya manure. There are so many things, and I'm happy that Farmer on Fire is here. And probably another person we were missing was Nasike, who has been fighting so hard on seed sovereignty. So hawa watu wanatunyanyasa tu, in short. Wanakuja na some bills zenye hazi make sense. So to me, wako very selfish and they are selling our sovereignty. Kuna mtu mention mambo ya AFS. I happened to kuwa Rwanda, the African food system, the whole of last week. I was there from Sunday to the end. And the gospel ni the same. Wanasema wanataka kusave Africa from food insecurity and such other stuff. And wakona vitu mzuri mpaka za the young people. But now what's discriminating ni behind all those things, wanakuja na mambo ya kucut the seeds. Like in Nigeria, like today I was watching a documentary. Nigeria, it's one of the countries when population grow at a very high rate, if I may use rate. Na nimeona even during the AFS 2024, wali mention vile wanakuja na a certain breed ya increase cassava production. You know that in Nigeria kuna a lot of cassava that is being produced. So my question was, mbona tusitumie ile indigenous cassava yenye inakuanga tolerant to so many diseases, alafu inakuanga fast growing? Mbona unataka utulete another variety ati sijui yenye inafanya nini? That simply means hiyo ikiisha, we'll still be dependent on these people. So there are so many things, and ile kitu labda tunaweza fanya is we sensitize our farmers as much. Watu kama sisi tuko kwa extension, we try as much as possible to reach the farmers na tuwaambie the real deal. Juu ukiangalia hizi motions wanaenda kuleta kwa bunge ni motions zenye zinakuja kudiscriminate agriculture. Like ukiangalia tena, the moment there's somebody who has said the moment the farmers are liberated, I guess it's Kadhomi, hakuna kitu ingine tunaweza hitaji from the government. The day we become food secure, kama tunaweza kuza chakula, we feed our families and such other stuff, hii government haitaiweza kuturule. The same thing that they did when walimaliza coffee in Central Kenya. I come from Central Kenya. The whole thing ilienda chini na tukakuwa, now we can worship the government. And that's the whole thing that is happening. So I've been wondering why the agriculture sector, it's never funded like it should. Yet tunasema mambo ya food security. It all zeroes down to, if the moment we liberate ourselves as farmers, will not be governable. So Amerix, thanks so much for this space. It's timely na I guess kitu yenye tutafanya watu kaa sisi tuliko kwa social media, we move from being just agri-influencers wa kupush our brands ama vitu labda hazi make sense, to sensitizing farmers on matters zenye our food sovereignty is being put at stake. Na kama kuna watu wako hapa nimesikia, there are very strong people who are here, maybe stronger than us, waende wajaribu kupush policies zingine zenye zita counter these policies. Like the moment you start saying that we cannot share seeds. Now what's that? We've been using these seeds for so long. We need seed banks. We need gene banks. All these things zikuwe protected. Alafu mambo ya kusema ati there's a company that I might not mention here. A company X ina produce fertilizer ati from, you can use that fertilizer from seeding to harvesting. A farmer has become a slave of using fertilizer for planting, for top dressing, for everything. Now what's that? What's happening is you are destroying our soils. These companies will not address the issue of soil health. The issue of soil health management will still be at stake. So mambo ni mingi, we can talk so much about it, but for now let me just pin it there.
Thank you very much, Farmer's Guide. Your name? Your name, please?
I'm Julius.
All right. Thank you very much, Julius. I really thank you for sharing your knowledge on that. So, Farmers on Fire, I don't know what's happening with Governor's mic and things like that, but Cyprian and Bravin are sorting it out. He will join. We really want to hear what he's doing to support farmers, because you know Trans Nzoia is the basket, is the bread basket of Kenya. Kuna mtu amenitumia hapa message, wacha niwasomee. Huyu jamaa anajiita wa Gikandi. Anasema hivi: Amerix, let me tell you, coffee farmers from Morima are crying. Some of us, like me, got their money on Friday, yet money was deposited to our accounts months ago. Hiki kimutu ya Morima is the broker of coffee, especially in Nyeri. Watu wanaumia huko nje na nyinyi mjui. Unajua ukiishi huko Nairobi, unaona tu life iko sawa. Bana, farmers are really in a mess. Farmers on Fire.
Yes.
Go on.
Yeah, it's very true. Farmers are struggling. And the idea is, ususidhani ati waishe, these people are not understanding that when they make certain decisions, zina to push into a corner. No, it is very intentional. These people want desperation. So that when someone comes with 500 to buy your vote, you don't have an option. You are so desperate. You're so cornered. You're just thinking about food for today. You're not looking at your future. So we have to come out in numbers, have to fight this politically, as Gadami said, also legally. We need to represent ourselves. We can't just sit back and wait these things to happen. We can talk till the cows come home, but we need action. And I have a few actions here. Talo, mzungu fulani hapa ameongea about seed oils. Amerix, we follow you. We see what you comment about Historia. Cancers don't just come from pesticides and fertilizer and chemicals. They also comes from mafuta yenye tunajipaka, imetoka kwa petroleum, mafuta yenye tunakula, ile soap tunatumia. Tuache kutumia hizo vitu. Let's go organic. You can make your own soap using shea butter, using coconut oil, using tallow. Tallow ni ile mafuta ya ng'ombe, unaenda pale kwa bucha, unapimiwa 1 kg, unakuja unatoa hiyo mafuta, you just cook it for a few minutes and it separates. And the other thing, in Kikuyu we call it garago. You can give that to your kids. It's very good for coughs. We have our own solutions right here and then, and I'd like us to have a conversation even with the medical doctors. Wanajua tuko na remedies kwa nyumba, kitu kama ginger, kitu kama aloe vera, kitu kama garlic. These are solutions and antibiotics that can help our bodies right here and here. Lakini akuta doki atai kuambia about a remedy yenye already iko kwa nyumba, ni kukutuma kwa chemist, unakuwa dependent. Our parents hawakosangi tu bahasha kwa mfuko all the time. Do you want to follow in those footsteps? Let's also start being conscious and start saying, wase wanatubeba vibaya, then enough is enough. Let's have our own pride. Let's feed our own Kenya. We have the capacity. Arable land tuko nayo, young people tuko nayo. We have good weather all year round. Surely in Kenya you can survive. Our senior wanaenda kutafuta job Germany and Canada and all the other places. They really suffer when it's during the cold months. But hapa bora uko na food, you can even sleep outside and you'll be fine. When I was working in Turkana and uko Kapenguria, wasa wanalala nje because it's too hot inside. So as long as you have food, you have everything. And they know that's the best place to trap you and make you a slave. Let us also start saving our indigenous seeds. Everyone, kila mtu, all 50 million of us. Sai, ukiwa uko na seeds, ziko kwa hao, unazisave, unazieka mahali. Usiseme ati, oh, we're waiting for Farm on Fire. Yes, I'm starting a seed bank, but I'm encouraging everyone. Saving seed is not complex. Our fathers used to do it. Our grandfathers used to do it. Granary ilikuwa wanajua kuselect the best maize to replant for the next season. But if we don't start having a relationship with food production, we will go bad. Yani, mse alikuja akatuconvince, oh, let's outsource this very critical role of planting food. Vile kulikuwa na COVID, the one thing that could not stop is food production. Juu wase wanaweza ishi bila food, bila clothing, bila education, all those stopped. But food lazima wase wangekula. And someone convinced us, let outsource this. We need to have back that relationship. Watu warudi nyumbani, watu waanze ku engage na soil. This also heals our bodies because that's how our bodies are structured. Wase waende off grid if you can. Once in a while, usikaange tu tao umekatalia town. Understand your roots, understand your food system. Food is your health. And if you're not investing in your health, we uko nje. History ya cost of living. When
All right.
they say they want certified seeds, inamaanisha ni kama ile ya onion. 1 kilogram of certified onion seed is 40,000. How many farmers can afford that? So, jua tu wanataka kwenda tu kufinya watu into the corner. So guys, start saving your seeds right now. Uko na seeds uko nazo za mahindi, zile colored, tafutana nazo. Climbing beans, noe, zile zilikuwa kubwa za white, njahe. All these things will change and we will not have the comfort of having our own indigenous seeds. The other thing is, use your land. Don't let your land stay idle. The judicial system in this country is so messed up. The moment when a government starts reprocessing your land because of underutilization, utaanza kulialia hapa. So if you have land, start making use of it. Try start figuring out, nitapanda miti, nitapanda aloe vera, nitapanda nini. Juu ikienda vibaya, then you'll be in trouble. And then at that point,
Yes.
you'll be attacked individually.
Thank you very much, Farmer Wangare. Asante sana. Bravin and Cyprian, si mjaribu kutafuta huyu governor. Sijui ako na issue na net ama ako na issue na speaker ama I don't know what is the issue. He was here and then I think he dropped. So mtafute alafu muone vile mtamsaidia. All right. Huyo jamaa wangamia, Farah, habari yako bana? How are you?
Salama Eric. I don't know if I'm audible. Niko kwa boma ya ngamia hata sasa.
Habari ya ngamia?
Ngamia, it's very good and it's actually a very good business honestly.
Yes.
Ni kitu ambayo watu wengi hawajui kuwa ni biashara, watu wanaona kama ni utamaduni pekee.
Hii ngamia inaweza ishi Bungoma?
Kuna msitu?
Hapana.
But pande ya Kakamega you can.
You can.
And even Siaya because it's a bit dry and hot, you can.
How much is one ngamia?
Sawa, wacha nikupigie hesabu rahisi. Ngamia moja that is pregnant goes for about 120,000.
120,000 ngamia tu? Ngamia?
Ile iko na mimba.
What are you saying?
Nisikize.
What are you saying? 120,000 ngamia tu hizi ngamia hizi?
Kuna ngamia ya mpaka 300,000 ngamia ya maziwa.
Endelea na hesabu.
So for instance, you're milking 30 camels, okay? That's a minimum of 120 liters per day. The wholesale price of milk in Nairobi is 150 shillings.
Per liter?
Per liter.
Wow.
So if you're producing 120 liters per day, you're making a minimum of 18,000 shillings daily. Ukitoa gharama yako na kila kitu, hata tuseme ya sherehe daily. The minimum you're supposed to be left with is half of that money, which is 9,000 shillings daily. Na hii ni kama wewe umekaa nyumbani, iko wafanyakazi, iko jamaa wa pikipiki kuleta maziwa, iko kila kitu. You've factored everything in. And that's from 30 camels. And if anybody looking to venture in, I would advise them to start with 60 so that you can have milk all year round. Because kuna ile ngamia unapea dume between mwezi wa pili na mwezi wa 4, Then kuna zile unapea between mwezi wa 9 na mwezi wa 11 because those are the rainy seasons. And those are all animals are on heat during that time. So all year round your milk production remains constant.
So wewe uko na ngamia ngapi?
Ndugu yangu hiyo Duale tumeachana kidogo, lakini si kazi yako hiyo.
Okay. All right. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but the other thing,
Go on.
goat farming as well. With goats. Goats is very easy, and land to lease for keeping goats ni rahisi sana, because in Kajiado, I keep the camels in Kajiado.
Okay.
In Kajiado, Shamba, where I'm at right now, it's almost 1,674 acres.
Yes.
I pay 30,000 shillings per month, but I pay annually per year. So kama unaweka mbuzi and you want to do it commercially and you have the capability to start with maybe 500 goats,
Yes,
ambazo ziko capable kuzaa, and you just maintain those goats bila kuzigusa for 5 years,
yes,
you can sell a minimum of 100 goats every month sustainably.
100 goats.
Sustainably.
Okay.
I'll tell you another
Yes.
thing. I worked in Somaliland, which is an unrecognized country, and a company called Omar Hashi Group of Companies. They do insurance, and one of the other things they do also is livestock export. Somaliland, through the port of Berbera, they export a minimum of 2.2 million heads of goat and sheep annually. A minimum of 700,000 head ngamia annually to the Middle East. The annual revenue kutoka kwa hii mifugo ni over 7 billion Kenya shillings annually. So mimi sijui wakati wanatuambia to register mifugo yetu kama ni swara tunafuga that we cannot export, or what we are actually, we as livestock keepers, what do we have here? Why don't we have access to the export market? Because ukiangalia there's some cartels. Kuna watu ambao wana export hiyo nyama but they process it. If you want to export, kuna cartels. So not every Kenyan has access to these markets. And for instance, in Somaliland, mbuzi inauzwa $170 export minimum.
$170
minimum.
That's around 20,000 Kenyan shillings.
There about.
Mbuzi tu hii, mbuzi tu.
Wacha mbuzi, unaona ile kondo iko na kichwa nyeusi ile inakuwa na haga ina dance.
Yes.
Those minimum $200.
$200.
Yeah,
Kondo.
because it's going to the Middle East.
Kondo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sheep.
Allah. Si spaceship hii iko na haga ina dance hii ya Kisomali.
Ndio nasema sheep, kondo. $200.
Yeah, sheep. Yeah, that's 200, yeah, minimum.
Why are we poor as Kenyans? Why?
Because we don't have I'll give you, Eric,
Yes.
I'll give you a very simple example to something that's very emotive to everybody in this country right now. And my my suggestion is, my opinion is, we do not care enough, even us as a citizenry, because as long as it does not touch upon you personally, we tend to overlook things. And one thing, look at the Adani deal, for instance. The money being offered is 30% of $2 billion. Why don't we as Kenyans form a consortium? Let's put, mimi sina shida kuuza ngamia 10 nilete. Hiyo pesa, I'll put it in there. Let us show Kenyans we can own our own institutions, because we don't need to be estranged from our government. It's supposed to be us who are the government. Once these people see that we can take charge of what is ours and what is our institutions, they will not go dare try privatize the railway system, nor the ports, nor anything else, because swali itakuwa tu ni shingapi. Because if you do 30% of $2 billion, it's almost 78 billion shillings, divided amongst the people. Or put up a consortium and a private company that will run this airport for the management, expansion, and all these things. Unaelewa? Because once we do this, yule mama mboga aweke shilingi yake 100 pale, we know that this is ours. Nobody will ever go back to being a slave in the mind as well, because when they tell you to do something, everybody will question whether it is the right move or we can do it better. Thank you.
All right. So kuna kitu umesema hapo, a very important thing. You said sisi kama wa Kenya, we can form a consortium, tuweke hapo pesa, and we own our airport. Why don't we have creative leaders? Why can't we think about Kenyans first before thinking about Adani and the other groups? This is very, very. So you do farming of goats and camel?
Yes, goats and camels primarily.
Okay.
But I also do, kuna wakati,
Mhm.
it's not allowed, it's not haikubaliki kisheria,
Okay.
but tulikuwa tunafanya export ya aloe vera kimagendo.
Okay. Aloe vera. Hii aloe vera tu hii tunapea kuku kama imeshikwa na homa.
Ala, hii kitu iko na pesa mzee, wewe hujui.
What do you mean? This thing that we just tunatoa kwa fence, then we tunafinya we put kwa maji ya
So what
kuku.
happens? Okay, let me explain to you how the business part of it
Okay.
works. When the aloe vera ukikata matawi yake,
Mhm.
inatoa resin ya black.
Correct.
Okay? So this resin, about 12 aloe vera 12 itakupea 1 liter.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mhm.
So kuna mahali ambayo inamea wild aloe vera, you just tell the local people, because a lot of people are unemployed, you'll get about 200 to 300 workers who are producing a minimum of about 10 liters daily. Unanunua lita moja kwa shilingi 100. So if somebody is producing anaweza kapata lita 10, anapata shilingi 1000 kwa siku. Meaning they're getting as much as people who are employed and in government. Kwa sababu hata wao, they don't take breaks. And once ikifika 140 liters, it's put on the fire kwa karai, inawekwa kwa moto. It's the liquid content is burnt down to under 5%. It becomes a solid. Okay? So this solid from 140 liters, you're supposed to get around 60 kgs.
Yes.
For 1 kg, it's around 650 Kenyan shillings. Okay? So wewe your investment yako ilikuwa shilingi 100, unapata shilingi 650. So and you need 2.5 liters to make 1 kg. So for every 250 shillings, you're making 650.
Is this
But now
something?
you could do 2 tons in 2 or 3 days.
2 tons.
Yeah, because ukienda kama pande ya Iten and Kilgoy, uko pande ya Baringo, there's a lot of wild aloe vera.
Okay.
And there's a lot of the Pokot people, Turkana, they do a lot of them do it. They do the harvesting and even the hiyo kupika. So if ukipata mahali they're producing maybe 1,000 liters a day, that's a minimum of 450 kgs daily. So that means in 2 days, you are supposed to have almost a ton. So in a week, you might produce 2.5 tons or 3 tons.
That is how much?
It's a ton. Per ton, you're making about 250,000, around 350 to 400,000, dependent on niko wapi. Na unajua it's not allowed. So hii pesa si yako yote. Do you understand? So I'll give you a very simple example. Ukiweka mita, unafaa kutoka na mita ingine. It's the minimum you're supposed to get is 100% profit.
Wait, if you put 1 million, if you invest 1 million in the harvesting and exportation or export of aloe vera, another 1 million.
Wild aloe vera. Auingi kwa hesabu ya kupanda nini. Just wild aloe vera.
Well,
if you put in 1 million shillings, the minimum you're supposed to make back is to earn is another 1 million shillings in profits. But it's not allowed under our law.
Why is it not allowed? What is the reason?
Because previously, before the Kibaki regime, it was extremely harvested to the point whereby we were losing a lot of the indigenous and wild aloe vera species. But as much as it's not allowed, to this day, people are still doing it. And people are still making a lot of money.
You know, there's a day I was in Nairobi and I saw very new vehicles, KDQ, KDR. So I was asking someone, people are crying in this country, they don't have money. Where are these people getting money that they're buying these brand new Prados? And he told me people have money.
Eric, Kitu nyingine pia people need to be very aware of,
Yes.
especially people who live in hot regions and forested
Yes.
regions. There are gum resins and such as frankincense, malmal, luban, very different from very many trees, the comifera trees and all these trees. They are very, very valuable. And those you need 2,500 shillings kupata permit kwa Kenya Forestry. And if those tree species are in the forest you live by, you can harvest as long as you wish because you're not harming the forest.
Thank you very much, sir. You've taught me something. Kathomi, what is your final parting shot?